If you are an artist or anybody who has ever been misunderstood, you will find relatable the feeling of putting something out to the world and having the world totally misinterpret what you showed it. How many times have you heard every breath you take at a wedding or born in the USA at a sporting event? The truth is, the artist has no control over how other people interpret their art. Once it leaves your hands, it's up to everyone else to decide what it means to them. Eventually, if it spreads to enough people and they discuss it, there will be a consensus reached and people will likely come to an agreement about what it means. This may or may not align with your intention. In fact, it could even anger you. Anish Kapoor designed a sculpture I'm sure you've seen before. It's the Bean in Chicago. Except it's not called the Bean, it's called Cloud Gate. And Anish hates the nickname, which he said was completely stupid, even though he eventually accepted it. And I guess that's what the point of me making the video is. When you make a piece of art and people take it the wrong way, you can't really be upset because anything you do as an artist is always met halfway. You could do interview after interview until you're blue in the face about the themes and purpose of your art, but if everyone disagrees about what it means, can they be wrong? Sometimes artists make a piece of art with a certain idea in mind, but the execution on that idea is flawed. Take the movie The Room, for instance. It's the quintessential so bad it's good movie, but the director Tommy Wiseau didn't set out to achieve this. He was trying to make a serious drama. It took him a long time to accept that people saw the movie as something to laugh at. So how can you make your art with the knowledge that people will misinterpret it? There are a few things you can do, and I'm going to start with the lamest one first. You can make your art simple, easy to decipher, and tell everyone what it means. This kind of art is usually reserved for little kids to help them learn. It's also used in instructional manuals and other material like that. And this obvious style of art is also found in political cartoons. There's nothing wrong with making something simple, but simple doesn't have to mean brain dead or disposable. Simple art can be something that's easy to digest, but you can also change up one or two things to give it a little bit of an it factor. Also, if you constantly tell everyone what your art means, then eventually it gets spread around by word of mouth, and people will soon start correcting each other's interpretation. I think this method of making art is lame because it doesn't foster any discussion around your art, and it blocks certain interpretations from being expounded upon, which could potentially have added an interesting slant to the piece whenever it's brought up. Basically, telling everyone how to interpret your art is a very egocentric move in my uneducated opinion. The opposite of making your art simple is making it impenetrable. Impenetrability is useful because it makes your art so obtuse or abstract that people have a hard time coming to a consensus about what your art even means. It also filters out people who don't engage with art on a more focused level. Not that a casual appreciation of art is bad. It's just more rewarding when someone can articulate exactly what makes your art so good. Casual observers also tend to take things at face value when maybe you've included deeper themes or subtleties. Some examples of impenetrable art are James Joyce's last two novels, Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake. These books are considered some of the densest in the English language. Each sentence is filled with layered meanings and allusions to other works. The video game Elden Ring qualifies as well, whose story is notoriously obtuse to the point where people weren't sure there even was a coherent story when the game first came out. Even today, new discoveries are being made about the plot. When it comes to traditional art, abstract artists tend to get the highest reputation for being impenetrable, to the point where the average person thinks there's no meaning or value to abstract art. And that's a risk you run when you make art like this. You can make something so insurmountable that people might not ever engage with it or find value in what you made. Who knows how many pieces of art are out there, still waiting to be discovered because its themes and meaning are so obscured. The final way you can make your art resist misinterpretation is to not try to directly resist misinterpretation. Instead, put yourself out there as an artist, let people get to know who you are, and from there they can interpret your art with who you are in mind. Plenty of artists do this. They'll do numerous interviews where they don't even discuss the meaning of their art, but they convey their interests and personality, which people then take into account when digesting their art. But honestly, my advice is just to do whatever you want. Make your art simple or dense. Talk all about your art or don't say a word about it. Art has no rules. It's just a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, or emotions. How you go about marketing it is a reflection as well. And if you have a problem with how people take your art, then that's a skill issue.